Hello, writers. I'm just going to add a little light to my video. It's gotten dark out. I think daylight savings is coming up. So, writers, we're here. We're at that great moment where our papers are exactly as we want them to be. We worked on our beginning, we worked on our end, we had our sensory language, we really went into detail in some moments of the story. We have a beginning, middle, and an end, and we're really, hopefully, everybody is feeling very good about their writing. I actually heard one of the students, and it made my heart sing. She was walking out of the class, and she said, I don't think I've ever written so well. And I was so excited because writers, that is what makes writing so enjoyable, is when you take the time and you make your paper stronger and you make those revisions. So I was thrilled to hear that. Today we are going to do editing. So this is going to take us a week, and we're going to be very focused. We're going to start with that no excuse list. And the no excuse list is really the things that at this point as a sixth grader, you should know. And if you don't know, we're going to keep practicing until you cement it. And those are things that you've been taught really since kindergarten. So if you use the word I, which of course in a personal narrative you're going to, that needs to be capitalized. There is never a time where that word would not be capitalized. So we're going to put that on our no excuse list. And also that every sentence is going to end with some type of punctuation. And that punctuation is going to either be a period, an exclamation mark, or a question mark. That's kind of a no excuse list as well. And the other no excuse is going to be that every sentence starts with a capital letter. So those three things you have had lessons on throughout your entire writing educational career. So those are getting put on our no excuse list. And then we're going to talk about some tricky homophones and go into a little bit of detail on that. And then we're going to do a Pear Deck on exclamation marks, periods, and question marks. And so by the end of today, those things will have been edited on your draft. Okay, writers. So what I'd like you to do is open up your digital notebook or your hard copy notebook, and I want you to go down to slide 13, and it says, how do writers edit their narratives? For those of you who are keeping a hard copy notebook, go ahead and write that on the next clean page. And then I'd like you to open up a new tab and go ahead and pull up the Pear Deck of Week 7, Lesson 13. And we're going to start with this quote by Stephen King, which says, "To write is human, to edit is divine." Stephen King. Stephen King used to be one of my favorite authors. He wrote these super scary stories, and I loved reading them when I was in my early 20s, but now I'm such a chicken, I can't read them anymore. Okay, so we're going to start with our no excuse list. And I'd like you to copy this slide into your notebook. For those of you who are keeping a hard copy, a digital notebook, I would like you to also type these out. So let's start with the number 1, capitalization. Capitalize the first word of a sentence. That may seem very obvious, but what you'll notice when you go look at your draft, many of you didn't do that. So you want to make sure that you capitalize the first word of every sentence. You are also going to capitalize the pronoun I. So anywhere in your narrative where it says I, you want to make sure that that is a capital I. You're going to capitalize the first letter of all names. So it's first and last name. So James Reed, the J is capital, capital J, the R is capital, capital R. And you're going to capitalize brand names. Nike, Coke, any brand name, Xbox, you want to make sure that you capitalize those. Many of you went to Valley Fair, which is the name of a place that would also be capitalized. And Valley Fair is capital V, and it's only one word, Valley Fair. It's all one word. If you are unsure of something regarding the capitalization, look it up. For example, with Valley Fair, is that one word or is it two words? And you don't know? Go ahead and look it up and make sure you get the name right. And then capitalize the days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The months, the holidays, religious holy days, like Easter, Christmas, Ramadan, Eid. All of those are going to be capitalized. Now, some of you love your birthday. That is not capitalized. Birthday is kind of a funny one. If you said, I hope you had a happy birthday, you would not capitalize the H or the B. But if you said, happy birthday, Mrs. Reed, you would capitalize the H and the B. So that's kind of a tricky one. But in the general sense, when you say it's my birthday, you are not going to capitalize that B, even though for some of us that is the single most important day of the year. I actually read that in one of your stories, so you know who I am talking about. So that's the first thing. That's number one, is the capitalization that is going on our no excuse list. The second one, we're going to do confusing homophones. Now, homophones are those words that sound exactly alike, but they have different meanings. So they are very, very tricky to work with because we have to pay an incredible amount of attention to them to make sure that we are using them correctly. The big ones that I see a lot, particularly in personal narratives, are there, and there, and then your and your. So let's go over these really quickly. There, THEY apostrophe RE, is a contraction of they are. Contraction is a word, it means to make smaller. And so you're taking two words, they are, and you're making it smaller. And that apostrophe is holding the place of a letter. So it's THEY, and then that apostrophe is taking the place of the A and then the RE. But the word is they are. That's the first one. The second one, THEIR, is it belongs to them. We got to their house, THEIR. It was their court. I'm just making up sentences. Anytime that something belongs to someone, it's going to be THEIR. Now, you have to come up with a way to remember that. For me, and I don't even know that this makes any sense, but I always liked that there was an I in the word THEIR, because I think, oh, I get it. It belongs to them. That's how I remembered it. If you can come up with something that works for you, let me know, because then I can share it with everybody else. But that's how I always remembered. Oh, I get it. It belongs to them. I don't know if a teacher taught me that or if that's just the way my brain worked. Okay, the last one there is there, over there. It's a location. I put your book there. That is THERE. So those are really hard. there, and there. Now, this next one, your and your, is really fun. It is very hard as well, but once you get this right, you'll never get it wrong again. So sometimes students will give me a note. This has happened on occasion, and they'll say, "You're the best." And they spell it Y-O-U-R, the best. And I look at it and I think, oh my God, well, it's even funnier when it says, "You're the best teacher." Y-O-U-R, the best teacher. And I think, oh gosh, no, I'm not, because I didn't teach you this. So I want to make sure I teach you this. Your, Y-O-U-R, means it belongs to you. So that is actually, it can be a possessive pronoun. If you use yours, it is yours, Y-O-U-R-S, or it is a possessive adjective where it's your book, Y-O-U-R, book. Now, you don't need to remember that it's a possessive adjective or a possessive pronoun. It can be both. All you need to remember is when you are using your, Y-O-U-R, that means it belongs to someone. So you would never say Y-O-U-R awesome or Y-O-U-R the best, because it makes no sense. Instead, you're going to use that contraction, which is Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, where that means you are. So you are awesome. Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. You're awesome. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let's chat about it when you get back to school. I found this quote. It was going around Facebook, and I thought it was funny. It was like on one of those teacher sites. "The devil whispered in my ear, 'You're not strong enough to withstand this storm.' I whispered back, 'You're.'" Get it? Okay, hopefully you think that's funny. No, you might not. All right, punctuation. We're going to spend a little bit of time with this, and I know for some of you this may feel laborious, and I'm sorry. But when I look at some of the drafts that have been coming in, I think this is an important thing that we need to talk about. Sentences must end in a period, a question mark, or have an exclamation mark at it. Those are your three choices. So there are no other choices. That's it. So for punctuation protocol, we're going to check for all question marks. We're going to check for exclamation points, and we're going to check for periods. So all these words, these interrogative words, who, what, where, when, why, how, all of those scream, I need a question mark at the end. All interrogative sentences end in a question mark. So anytime you are asking a question, you want to make sure that you have a question mark at the end of that sentence. Now, you do not have to write this slide down in your notebook unless you want to. But I do want you to write an interrogative question. This exclamation points, an exclamation point is put at the end of exclamatory sentences. These are, you're super excited. We won the game. Or it follows an interjection. Yes, that is the correct answer. Again, you can write this down if you feel like you need this help. I love that little list of primary interjections. I would probably write those down in my writer's notebook, just so I had a list of them to think about. And afterwards, so if you say, oh, you put a big exclamation mark, oh, I got the right answer. Okay, and those are really fun. Okay, and the last but not least is the almighty period. So a period ends a declarative sentence. Those are sentences that you declare something. I love writing class, period. I know you're tempted to put an exclamation mark because you really love writing class, but for this example, we're just going to put a period. A period ends an imperative sentence where you're giving kind of a direction. Shut the door, period. A period ends most abbreviations. So Mrs. Reed, Dr. Green. You're going to put a period right in behind the last letter of the abbreviation. And a series of periods, this is kind of one of my pet peeves when people put an ellipse is only 3 dots. It's never 5 or 4 or 3, or well, it is 3. It's never 5, 6, or 7. It's 3. An ellipse is a series of periods, and they show where words are left out. So if the full quotation is, my mom said, get packed, make sure you grab your toothbrush. We have a big surprise for you. But as a writer, you don't think that her telling you to grab your toothbrush is important. That's not really the point of your story. You might instead put the ellipse to indicate that there were more words, but you're just leaving them out. My mom said, get packed, ... We have a big surprise for you. So here on the Pear Deck, you're going to write a sentence that ends with a period. Now that is it. You are now going to go back and you're going to edit your draft. So I'd like you to highlight every there, and there, and your, and then you're going to make sure they are all correct. Then you are going to look at every single sentence, and I want you to make sure it begins with a capital letter, ends with a question mark, an exclamation mark, or a period. And that is your challenge today. Next up, we're going to share, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. Thanks. Okay, so this is so exciting. We are getting our writing partners. And your writing partner is a person who is going to give you support that is going to make a difference to your writing. And I love this quote. It says, successful people build each other up. They motivate, inspire, and push each other. Now, here's an example of some feedback that writers have given other writers, a different writer, in our days of paper. And I found this in my office and I thought, I love how well done this was. Nice lead, longer. I think your first paragraph is right to the point, so nice job. Remember, you are talking in past tense. Your second paragraph showed present tense. I think you should work more on being Steve, aka voice. Try to talk like him a bit more. Combine sentences. Now, that was for a different type of project, but what I want you to notice is how specific that feedback is. So that writer is now going to go back to their paper and add or decide that they liked the feedback, but perhaps they're not going to use it. But they're going to at least have things that they can consider. So we have a process, and this is our process. And I want you to first locate your writing partner. And that is on in Google Classroom. It says Writing Partners. So pull up that document and you will see your writing partner. And then I would like you to share your writing with your partner. So if I were to share my writing, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to grab that share icon. I am going to, let's say I want to share it with Mrs. Pulowski. So I'm going to keep that notify people. I know we don't always do that, but I want you to do that in this instance. And I'm going to change her to a viewer so that she can just read it and give me feedback. And then I'm going to send it to her. Now, if you are on, if you have 3 people as your writing partner, Then I want the first person to share with the second person to share with the third person, and the third person to share with the first person. So just kind of go in a row. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is open up the Writing Partners template, also found in Google Classroom. And you are going to add your partner's name to the template. And so right here, if I had Dr. Green as my partner, I would write Dr. Green. Now, what I'd like you to do is you are going to read your partner's paper, narrative paper, and you are going to make 2 positive comments and 1 suggestion. So you want to make sure that you are really specific about what is positive. So here's an example I had where mine was, I asked my friend to read it, and it says, "I love the ending. It made me think about how we define ourselves. I thought the part where you described the squirrel attacking you was great. I could really picture the scene. You might think about adding more dialogue to the part after the attack." So that is a really nice example. I really appreciated that feedback. And I'm going to think about that when I go back to my paper. So that was step 4. So you are filling out that template. You're reading the paper, you're filling out the template, and then I want you to share it. So you will go ahead and share that the same way you shared your paper. You're going to share the feedback template with your partner so that they can read it. And then you're going to read and consider what your partner said about your paper and send them a quick email back. So Kathleen my friend read mine. So I said, "Hi, Kathleen. Thank you so much for taking the time to read my paper. I appreciate your feedback. Best, Julie." It's that easy. But you do want to acknowledge when your partner has given you feedback. So that is it. If you have any questions, please send me an email. And good luck, writers. I am getting so excited to get these papers in. Bye.